Hi guys, I can't wait to share with you Grandma Mary's ham and bean soup. It is a tradition around here. It's been in her family for over 100 years, and so I'm going to share with you my mother's recipe with you today. And in fact, my mother-in-law told me unless you have a bean on New Year's Day, you're going to have bad luck all year. So it's definitely worth paying attention to. And this is so easy, you will not believe how simple this recipe is. So you start out by just soaking beans in water. I use the Great Northern beans. That is what my mother told me to use. You can get them like in a pound bag or a 2-pound bag. And so you just, depending on how many you have at your dinner, you just add beans to a bowl. And normally this would be much bigger. If we weren't filming, I would have a bigger bowl with either the pound or the 2-pound bag. And you fill it probably 3 or 4 inches past with water, past the bean line. So let that soak overnight. So when you are done with soaking those beans overnight, if we weren't filming, I would pour this water out, and I won't make you watch me do that. But then you just take those beans and then you add it to a large pot. So the soaked beans add to the large pot. And then you fill that pot with water. Again, you're gonna cover those beans by 3 or 4 inches worth of water. And then, this is the simple part, you just add a chopped up onion. The recipe calls for a full stick of butter. Now, I modify this a little bit. If it's just a pound of beans, I'm only gonna add a half a stick of butter. Don't tell my mother, okay? So in addition to that, you add, she adds salt and pepper, but because of the high pork and high salt content, I just do a little bit of pepper. And then here's the magic part. You add a ham shank. Now, her recipe calls for a ham hock, but I'm gonna modify it a little bit. Don't tell her, but I'm gonna do the ham shank and let that then bring it to a boil, let it simmer for 2 or 3 hours just until the beans are softened. And then when you get to a place where the beans are softened, that pork should be cooked through. You pull that pork back out, and then you just start trimming the meat off of that shank. And then you take that meat and you put it back in your pot. Now, what I do to beef it up a little bit too, I love the Boar's Head meat at the deli department. I'm not selling anything for Boar's Head, but I get like the dinner cut steaks, and I'll do a pound or 2, depending on how many I'm serving, and dice it up and then add that back into the pot if you want a little bit of extra meat in your pot that's a little more lean. And if you want to do more than one shank, you can do 2 or 3, depending on what your preferences are. And then the end, you have this beautiful ham and bean soup. Isn't that easy? So easy, so delicious, so satisfying, so comforting, and a great way to gather with not a lot of fuss and have your family together to start the New Year's right. So if you have New Year's traditions, I'd love to hear what you do as well. But if you tried this, let me know, and I would love to hear what you think. Thanks so much, guys. See you later. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.